Three, two, one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Small Talk on the Mats. On today's episode, I got a guest who is the owner of Il Chino Meals. Il Chino specializes in macro-based meals and has a weekly rotating menu to keep things interesting. He has an extensive culinary background and has been providing not only healthy meals, but good tasting meals and nutritional meals. The business has grown to a point of opening a second location recently, so he's far from done. Now, whether you're looking for a convenient meal solution, trying to improve your lifestyle, or simply searching for healthy meals that taste pretty damn good, Il Chino Meals has you covered. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you today Ricky Silva. How's it going, bro?
Going good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being here. So as I just mentioned before we started rolling, I'm going to go through the topics here. I categorize them so we can stay on topic, so we're not jumping all over the place. So we'll jump right into it, man. The first category is your personal journey and your background. So to kick it off, man, you started in kitchens at a very young age. So what first sparked your love for cooking?
I'd say even before I started working in kitchens, I grew up in single-parent homes. A lot of times it was either microwave food or oven food, but I got tired of that real quick. So even before I started working in kitchens and learning how to cook, I kind of taught myself how to cook at home. Okay. Just by experimenting with different stuff. So like when I got my first job, naturally I gravitated towards food and kitchens. Already having that experience at home. I mean, I even used to cook for my older brother. Yeah. That's when I realized I actually had like a love for the culinary arts. Okay. Because he had no idea how to cook. And then it became more of a common thing throughout my life, like with girlfriends, relationships, friends, stuff like that. I was always the guy that got, elected or selected to do the cooking or the grilling. Yeah. And then from there, it just kind of happened to be like I would work fast food kitchens, short order kitchens, cafeteria style buffet type stuff. But when I really started to learn about nutrition and things like that was when I worked in retirement and convalescent homes. Okay. Which I won't be shy about this. I had kind of a shaky upbringing. I got in trouble a couple times at school, and the reason I ended up in those places was through community service. Gotcha. But it was kind of like a blessing in disguise because I would have never gotten in there and learned that stuff about nutrition, and it was kind of hands-on. At first, I was like a dishwasher and would sweep and mop and all that stuff, and then slowly they let me start doing more and ended up getting a job there. And then from there it just took off because now I'm learning about macronutrients, which is what I base my food on, learning about different type of diets like renal diets and stuff like that. So okay, yeah, that's awesome. And all the stuff before that, kind of like it just all came together. And then the funny thing is I left that world behind and worked in the corporate world for 10 years. But that was where I actually learned a lot about business. Gotcha. So okay, yeah. That. We're going to jump into that here pretty soon too, man. That's a good background so far. So you've worked in many different types of restaurants. What did you take away from those early experiences? The early experiences were cool. I definitely made a lot of friends. I have friends to this day that stayed in the Albuquerque area that I grew up with in those kitchens. But like the biggest thing I took away from is just all the different styles of cooking, all the different ways and methods of cooking. I think it's gone away a lot, which is unfortunate. And that's one of the things that makes my business and my food so unique. Yeah. Because a lot of places it's just fast food. It's already prepared. Yeah. It's already done. People would be amazed at the stuff that they're eating if they would actually see it. Yeah. And some people do, and they don't care, and I get that. I do it too. I eat a little bit of everything. Obviously, I'm not a little guy, and I know how to make my own food. But yeah, it's like even the best restaurants or best quality restaurants you think wouldn't do stuff like that to shortcut, they are. Yeah, especially the chains, especially the big corporate ones. And it's kind of sad to see that die because it's really an art form, but it's what really makes food good. Okay, yeah, it's a good way to put it. Yeah. So working in retirement and convalescent facilities, it gave you exposure to like specialized diets and stuff. So how did that shape your approach to nutrition today? I never really applied it. And it's funny because this is like a jiu-jitsu type combat sport type podcast, which is what I'm excited about, till I got into training for MMA. Okay. I went to the old school Fit NHB one day. I had a friend that was already training there. Actually in the food service too. Okay. So he got me to go in there. We rolled, we sparred a couple times, and we started at it was a hop keto school. of all schools. Taekwondo / Hapkido. We got bored with it real quick, the belt system, and we're like, we just want to kind of like get in there and get dirty, you know?
Yeah.
So we went to Fit NHB and started training there. And at the same time, I was kind of like on a weight loss fitness journey.
Okay.
And it came to me like, dude, you know how to do all this stuff. You know how to measure your foods. You know what types of foods to eat, what types of foods to make. And then it started with me just making the simple stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of like with everything else, you get bored of it real quick. Chicken, rice, and broccoli. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm not a bodybuilder. I give mad props to those guys that can do that and eat that same thing every day.
Consistently.
But that's also what inspired me to make the food that I make now.
Gotcha.
A lot of the recipes that I have at my restaurant now and in the business are stuff that I started making back then because I got tired of the plain food.
Gotcha.
In the midst of it, I started doing meal prep for some guys that went on to be UFC fighters and stuff like that had big careers. I did their fight camps back in those days.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's sick. All right. So after cooking, you just mentioned you shifted to the corporate world. So what did that chapter teach you that you still apply to your business now?
Oh, man, so many different things. I look back at it now, and there's things that I use on a daily basis that I wouldn't have learned if I hadn't had that corporate experience and knowledge. I don't like corporations anymore. I hope I never have to go back to it. But if I do, I know I have that knowledge and experience.
Right.
But everything from like leadership qualities, because I have to be a leader every day. I have employees. I think I learned the most probably in sales out of anything. Sales and marketing is probably been the main key things that have helped me drive my business to the point that I've gotten it to and grow. Networking, things like that. But then also just organization. You know, I would have never learned how to use spreadsheets and things like that if I hadn't been exposed to that world.
Yeah.
So just day-to-day essential things that I would have never thought I would use after the corporate world.
Yeah.
I use in my business all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, a lot of gems there.
Yeah.
So do you feel your background in both food and business gave you a unique perspective when you started El Chino Meals?
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
I mean, when I started, a lot of people don't know this, but we started in the garage at home.
Okay.
I think a lot of people do that with food and stuff like that, and then usually move on to a food truck or something.
Yeah.
But people had no idea because I had a whole professional setup. One of the first things that I invested in was my marketing by developing a brand, a logo, and a whole marketing package. It was probably, to this day, one of the biggest investments that I made.
Yeah.
But the most important. I contacted a local, what the word is for him. His name's Ryan Kellogg, though. And I still use his logos that he made me for this day.
Okay.
Or I use them to this day.
Okay.
And then aside from that, I invested in equipment right away before I even had a place. There was a buffet had closed down. I got an opportunity to go get a bunch of equipment.
Nice.
Literally just stuffed it in my garage. and knew I would use it and need it one day. And one of the biggest things that I got was this long stainless steel table. It's a prep table.
Okay.
And it's in my actual kitchen today, but that thing used to be in my garage. Nice. So I'd make videos at the very beginning, and people would be like, "Oh yeah," they thought I had a kitchen. Then I had the brands and the logos, and everybody thought it was legit. People used to ask me where it was.
Yeah.
And I tell them, "Oh, we're just in a commissary kitchen right now." Now, of course, we outgrew that pretty fast, and we did end up in some commissary kitchens on the way.
Yeah.
But the growth now, looking back, just in the last 5 years, is pretty insane.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's sick. All right, so we're going to move on to the topic of the birth of El Chino Meals. So the first question on this one is, what inspired you to launch El Chino Meals back in 2020?
So in 2020, it was kind of funny. I was in a really funky stage in my corporate life where I was completely burnt out. Just like the 10 years that I put in, it just like almost meant nothing to me at that point, and I just wanted to do something different. Also, at the same time, I got in trouble, went pretty much my whole life without getting a DWI, and I got a DWI.
Okay.
But I had a real come to Jesus moment, I would say, when I was in jail.
Okay.
Because I realized I'd already been messing up before that. And I was sitting in this jail cell, and there was this badass mural on the wall. And like literally I was just sitting there looking at the mural. And I don't know if this happened for a reason. I know some people believe in stuff like that. I do too. But just I could relate to parts in the mural, and just made me think and reflect. And I told myself, I was like, I need to make a change, man. I need to do something different.
Yeah.
So as soon as I got out, I just kind of like, I guess you could call it a vision board. but it was more like a vision paper. Started thinking different things I could do, different things you're good at. And then I remembered back in the day when I used to make the fighters meals for their fight camps, and it worked. I was like, you know what? That's something that I think I could do, and I actually enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So I gave it a shot. One of the first things that I did was obviously networking that I had learned. I started hitting up old fighters that I used to know, and some of them were coaches, some of them were personal trainers. One of them that really helped me start out strong, Freddie Sandoval. I still work with him to this day.
Okay.
And him I knew from back in the day when he was still a fighter. And it's funny because we had similar paths, rocky paths leading up to now.
Yeah.
And it was weird because he had just gotten out. He did some federal time.
Okay.
And he was a great personal trainer at this gym, and he basically threw it all out there, got me in this gym, got me going, probably my biggest boost to this day, and just took off from there, man.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice, man. It's a good connect right there for you.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, all of them have been. I still tap into other ones or run into other ones that know me from back in the day, and it's a great resource. The fight community and the fight game in general in Albuquerque, New Mexico,
Oh, yeah.
I believe is one of the strongest out there.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good support system right there, man.
Yep.
All right. So starting a food business during the pandemic, I know it had its challenges, man, and everybody did, but what were some of the biggest hurdles in those early days?
Looking back, that pandemic, man, it definitely kicked my ass, but at any point, I never wanted to quit. Because once the ball started rolling, it was like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And I would tell myself, all these challenges were here for a reason, and I just had to persevere through them.
Yeah.
And it's funny, what ended up happening is it worked to our advantage. Since we didn't have a brick and mortar, we didn't have to shut anything down.
Right.
Since we weren't working out of a commissary kitchen, we didn't get shut down.
Right.
So I was able to run. Now, some people at the time were kind of against it, and I completely understand why. Everybody has their reasons, but a lot of people, that's where we really grew a lot of support, especially with like first responder community.
Yeah.
We still have a really good relationship with all the first responders because all those people were still working
Yeah.
at the time. So a lot of my first clients during that time, and on top of it, I was just doing contactless home delivery, which
Okay.
everybody loved. We didn't have a place. I didn't have a pickup location. There was times I had a little Ford Fusion, and my daughter still drives it to this day. But I would load that thing up, man, with cooler bags and ice packs to the top of the roof, in the trunk, in the passenger seat sometimes.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I was delivering sometimes, and I covered all of the Albuquerque and Rio Rancho area and Los Lunas.
Damn.
Sometimes I'd take 2 trips, 3 trips, and I'd be delivering from like 9 in the morning to 9 at night sometimes.
Wow. Hustling.
Hustling. Straight
Wow,
hustling.
man. That is great. Okay. So how did you come up with the name El Chino Meals?
So Chino's an old nickname. I want to say the first person that ever gave it to me was my grandma.
Okay.
In I guess Hispanic culture, it's not necessarily racist. Some people take it that way, but it's an eye thing.
Okay.
So I still do. I have really fat cheeks. Sometimes it makes my eyes a little squinty. So she
Gotcha.
used to call me her little Chino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then later on, it developed into Il Chino, like amongst friends and things like that.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do is kind of, I'll obviously adapt like Hispanic culture, but more importantly, Chicano culture.
Right.
Since it's been a huge part of my life, I grew up with it. I have uncles, and we're full of cholos in
Yeah.
my family, I like to say.
Yeah.
Some people have called me a cholo. I don't mind it.
Okay.
I love it. I hold on to it. It's definitely part of my culture and part of my life. So I wanted to do something to adapt that into the branding. And one of my favorite movies of all time is Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah.
I can watch that movie.
Hell yeah.
And if it's on, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Even if I'm only going to get to watch a little bit of it. So that's part of it too. And then just the hustle, the hustle part of it, adapting my nickname to it, having it in the branding and the logo. And I kind of adapted it into just the hustle of the meals, the hustle of the business, and the cultural side of it.
That's badass, man. Yeah. I'm glad I found out the origin of that.
Yeah. A lot of people ask. Some people I'll give the full scope. Some people I'll give the little snippet of it.
Yeah, that's
Depends.
cool, man. I'm grateful. What was the first dish or menu item you ever offered, and how has the menu evolved since then?
So that's kind of funny. I was thinking about that when I was telling you about the branding and the logos. So the first time I came out with them, I was doing my own branding and logos, and I used to make little stickers actually in my sales office using the company printer and ink. But I would use the little homies, little homies figurines.
Yeah.
And my main one that I used was it was the little Chino guy.
Okay.
And I used to put him And then I remember like the first meal I ever did, I want to say it was called a beef boy. And
Okay.
that's what I call it, BOY. And it was just basically like marinated steak, chunky, like sirloin tips, rice, and some vegetables. But the sauce that I did, my sauces are some of the best sauces that you'll find out there, because a lot of them are in-house sauces, and I just know how to accompany them, through my culinary experience.
Right.
Just to I like to say set it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like really makes the dish. But I would say that one was probably the one that sticks out as the first one that I ever did, and people loved it. And then from there, I basically developed the menu, threw away stuff that didn't work, kept the same stuff. I still do the same thing to this day.
Okay.
I'll try a meal before anybody ever sees it or hears about it, maybe 3 or 4 times.
Gotcha.
Because I don't want to put anything out that got my name on it that I don't actually like.
Right. Okay. That's pretty cool. So we'll jump into the food philosophy and your mission. So your meals are portion controlled and macro based. So how do you balance taste with nutrition when you're creating these dishes?
Macronutrients. I get that asked of me all the time. The understanding of macros and portioning correctly. Believe it or not, you can almost eat anything. Like I get people sometimes like, well, I can't eat this and I can't eat that. And I'm like, well, why can't you eat that? And sometimes they have good answers, and I get it. I'm not a fan of keto. I'm not a fan of like all those diets. They work, don't get me wrong, but my food is made for lifestyle.
Yeah.
I like to say. It's not a diet. It's not a crash diet. It's not diet food. I even get kind of offended when people call it diet food, because that's not what it is. It's based on just basically, like you say, portion control, higher proteins, good quality carbohydrates that you actually need. That's why I don't like keto. If you're active at all,
Yeah.
you need carbohydrates.
Yep.
You're trying to build muscle, lean out, lose weight, whatever. You can drop carbs, but you still need them. And then, of course, good nutrition or nutrient-dense vegetables. There's some vegetables that people think are vegetables that aren't even vegetables. So, like a lot of people think zucchini squash is a vegetable.
Okay.
It's actually a carbohydrate. Bell peppers, carbohydrate. So like
Interesting.
I had somebody come in one time and they say, I don't eat any rice, I don't eat any potatoes, I just eat vegetables like zucchini squash and bell peppers. And I had to school them real quick, and I think they got offended, but that's just one of the many things that I learned, like I said, in that dietary based, like the retirement homes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which blew my mind.
Okay.
Especially as a kid that grew up eating calabacitas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of my favorite foods.
Yeah.
Not a vegetable. It's a
That's
carbohydrate.
crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. So you're giving knowledge out here to these people too. That's good.
A little bit.
So you said healthy food doesn't have to be bland or boring.
No.
In your words. So what's your process for keeping the meals exciting and flavorful?
Most important thing, and I'll point at the camera, season your damn food.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to do it. There's so many great seasonings out there, and there's a lot of course, with the access of the internet, a lot of people have gone to like making their own seasonings.
Okay.
Just by basically mixing different bases, oregano, cilantro, onion powder, garlic powder. And to the onion and garlic haters, well, most of the onion haters, onion is in everything that you eat, no matter what you eat. There's a few things that it may not have it, but like that's one of the bases for almost every seasoning, marinade, all that stuff. But It's a balance of that, and then just balancing out what's good versus what's good for you. One of the biggest things is staying away from high fats, because fats are going to be your most calories. So when you're figuring out macronutrients, your proteins are going to give you 4 grams or 4 calories per gram. Same thing with carbohydrates, but fats will give you 9 calories per gram.
Okay.
So like when you're calculating your calories and your macronutrients, that's the base formula.
Okay. Sweet.
Although fats are delicious too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So what role does sourcing local ingredients play in your mission?
Sourcing locals key, as long as the biggest struggle lately, I'd say in the last 2 years, has been cost as well.
Okay, yeah.
Unfortunately, I have gotten away from some of it just because it's become so expensive, just like everything else.
Yeah.
But meats especially, I was sourcing those locally for a long time. They still are local within New Mexico, but like as far as I used to use a place called C4 Farms.
Okay.
Really good, high quality meats. Things like that make a huge difference. Locally sourced produce, huge too. The only problem with locally sourced, aside from that, is just the volume because of how much meals we make.
Gotcha.
The amount of meals we make, ridiculous.
Yeah.
But as long as it works, it works. But whatever I can get locally, I try to get locally. Seasonings as well. There's some really great local seasoning companies too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, not many people think about the seasoning part, like you just mentioned the previous question too. So that's good that you're throwing this out there. So many people struggle with meal prep because of time. So how does Il Chino Meals solve that problem for others?
By basically providing you with what you need. We also have several options some people know about. One thing that I started doing, I'd say about a couple years into the business, is bulk protein and bulk carbs.
Okay.
So what you can do, if you don't want an already made meal, you can get your protein by the pound, already made a la carte, ready to go, and it's a pound weight, weight cooked. So that's not pre-cooked. Because a lot of people think like, what's a pound? Like if you go to a steakhouse, they'll tell you it's a 16-ounce steak.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna get like a 12-ounce steak once it's cooked. So my steak, it's a full pound of steak. Then the carbohydrates. Then all you got to do is like what I tell people is throw a handful of spinach in there if you want to keep it super simple.
Yeah.
Or just throw some other vegetables in there, and that's easy. Aside from that, it's just the convenience in general. You know?
Yeah.
You don't want to prep your food. It's already cooked. It's already ready for you. You already got your macros on there. If you're following your macros and your calories, you're good to go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So why is offering options like low sodium meals and in-house desserts important for you?
The low sodium side is actually for my own health. I do have some heart issues that I developed. I want to say partly because of the business and the stress and stuff. But it's closer to like, it's called a renal diet. And with that, you want to just keep your sodium low. You can still have it.
Yeah.
But like that, I get asked that a lot, especially about my sauces and things like that. You're not going to get anything more than tops 80 milligrams of sodium. Whereas your average fast food meal can have hundreds of milligrams of sodium.
Yeah.
And that's what causes you to bloat. That's what causes you to hold water, especially in women and stuff like that. And then aside from that, what was the other part of the question?
So the second part is the in-house desserts.
The in-house desserts. Yeah. So those are really great. That's my partner, Jackie, that does those.
Okay.
I'm not a baker at all. I don't even try to touch that stuff. Baking's more of a science, man. Cooking and grilling's like an art form.
Gotcha.
Because with the measurements and things like that, don't get me wrong, I measure stuff for as far as the calories and things like that. But with baking, like if you don't measure something right or you don't put baking powder or something, like even Hershey made something the other day and it like exploded.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I forgot the baking powder. And I'm like, nothing's ever exploded on me like that for missing some salt or something like that. And I was like, wow. But yeah, she does some really great desserts and they're all zero sugar. She sweetens a lot of stuff with honey. We add whey isolate protein to it to increase the protein in it. But she does things with the desserts that I can't even explain because I've had protein desserts before, and one of the main things is they're always dry.
Yeah, right.
They're always dry, whether it's a cookie or anything. So she's found this good blend, kind of like I do with the cooking, of like mixing in things to make, cupcakes more moist, cookies and things like that to where they're not dry. People love them.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love them.
And she's just getting started. She's the creator of the peanut butter bars. I can never take credit for that.
Those are so good,
yeah,
man.
Peanut butter bars are all Jackie.
Well, props to her, man.
Props to Jackie.
She's doing good. All right, so next topic is community and impact. So Il Chino Meals is rooted in Albuquerque. How has the community responded to your mission so far?
So to me, I'm as local as it gets. And when I first started, I made it a point, not even as far as networking, but just to make sure that I touched with the community through law enforcement, first responders, things like that. Also, I try to mainly obviously I work with a lot of gyms. Yeah. And I try to stick strictly to just local gyms.
Gotcha.
Local, small business owned gyms, local owners, things like that. That's really been key with what we do. Just kind of bring the community up.
Yeah.
Same thing with like, I sponsor a lot of fighters.
Yeah.
We were talking about Itzel.
Yeah.
So like her, it's funny because when a little bit after I started, I ran into her and she was just getting into jiu-jitsu. She was kind of shifting from powerlifting to jiu-jitsu. And I told her when I ran into her that day, I was like, let me know when you're ready and I will sponsor you. And it's crazy because now she's tearing it up. Yeah. And I've sponsored her the last couple of big events that she's gone to.
Yeah.
So that's been awesome. Then aside from that, just community in general, man, just like attending certain events, making sure that we have a presence locally and making sure everybody knows that we are a locally small-owned business.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good community support and involvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. Do you find yourself educating people on nutrition as much as serving meals?
When it comes to that, I have to be careful. Because, like, I don't ever want to come across as, like, overconfident about it or anything like that. So usually, like, I had a older lady come into the new spot the other day.
Yeah.
And I let her school me on nutrition.
Okay.
And I just kind of like held my tongue and let her talk and just agreed with her.
Okay.
Now, certain people, I do get a lot of people that are genuinely interested in it. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind sharing knowledge, ingredients, things like that. I actually love it when people even make their own meal preps. It's one of my favorite things to see on social.
Okay.
I don't like get mad that they're not eating mine or anything like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have inspired me to make stuff.
Gotcha.
Based on their stuff and their meal preps. So it's always good to spread knowledge, and I enjoy it with people that are genuinely interested.
Okay.
People are just telling me what they know, so just let them talk.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Open-minded, man.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a good way to be. So, what's your proudest customer success story so far?
I'd have to say I had this guy. He first started coming into my original location downtown when we opened up almost 3 years ago. He wasn't like huge. He was a bigger, heavier set guy, big, tall guy.
Yeah.
And I literally got to see this guy just shrink over the last few years. And not like shrink in a bad way, but just slim down.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I never asked him for like a testimonial or anything like that. I've never thought of it, but I need to get a testimonial from him. Because our food is literally all he eats.
Yeah.
Aside from that, my buddy Freddie Sandoval that I mentioned, he's been on the food since he started. And if you ever see that guy, he's just got an insane physique. He works out really hard too.
Yeah.
He's a personal trainer, but he's a testament to it. So I'd say those two probably stick out the most. And then other customers that have told me, you know, you helped me lose, 30 pounds for my wedding or whatever it was. Anytime I hear about it, always love to hear about it.
Oh yeah, it must make you feel pretty good knowing that you're changing people's lives.
Yeah,
Man.
and then on top of that, I would say all the fighters that I've used the food I've sponsored that have made weight no problem, always come back around to tell me and give me props and stuff like that. It's always a testament to the food because just like in any other business or thing you do, you have your haters, you have your people that criticize and
of course,
and all that, and that's like the best representation to be like, it works, it's real. You can doubt it all you want, but it does what it needs to.
Yeah, man, it's a good way to shut those people up.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how do you hope to impact people's long-term relationship with food itself?
For people that just don't know anything about nutrition, get one of my meals and you don't have to eat it all the time, but just like look at how it's portioned, pay attention to it, because at the end, I think everybody needs a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Myself included. I've struggled with food and weight my whole life. I don't try to market myself as the face of it or anything like that because I love food in general. Like, I tell people out all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because I've gotten that plenty of times. Like, you can see on my shirt, husky boy. I am a husky boy. But yeah, just like giving them a little bit of knowledge and making sure that they understand that. I think a lot of people have like a love-hate relationship with food, especially with like healthy food. So like I said, I don't like my food being called healthy food or diet food because it's kind of a turnoff. I always tell people it's good food.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
Okay.
And then I think the other thing is just people realizing how important, the right types of proteins, lean proteins, and nutrient-dense food can affect your body and the way that you feel. Even if you're not trying to lose weight or become a big, huge bodybuilder, just the way you'll feel day to day by eating good and eating the right stuff, it's a huge deal.
Got you. This question just popped in my head, man. But what do you think or feel about the saying "you are what you eat"?
It's the real thing. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've known people also or customers that have come to me and told me, man, like I've tried meal prep before and I just couldn't do it because kind of like I told you in the beginning, get tired of the same thing all the time.
Right.
And there's only a certain small percentage of people that can do that. I had this girl that said all I used to eat was like chips and junk and stuff like that because I never liked any food until I tried your food. And like hearing stuff like that, once again, kind of like the weight loss stuff, is pretty inspiring, but also it makes you think like eating chips and junk and candy and stuff like that. Like they've literally tied all that stuff and all the fake sugars to like your mental clarity, autism, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really are a representation of what you eat,
Yeah. Okay. All right. So jumping on to the next topic of entrepreneurship and growth. As both a chef and a business owner, how do you balance the creative side with the operational side?
That's probably been one of the hardest parts of the entrepreneurial side is just balancing that because there's always certain sacrifices that you have to make on the business side. And that's one of the things that I always remember from the corporate world because when I worked in the corporate world, there was some things I just didn't understand.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't my money and it wasn't my profit margin and all these things. So that's an example of things that I apply now and I think about now that I never thought of before. But on the creative side, I think it's just, you have to find that balance, but definitely still be creative, be original and somehow, and just be unique. Creativity for me, it comes to the food, and then the way the business is marketed. And then as far as the business side, it just has to make sense, because I think a lot of people get too carried away with the creative side or trying to be unique, and then they lose sense of the business, and then that's when you go under. Because
Gotcha.
at the end of the day, it's still business. You still got to make profit.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I love what I do, but at the end of the day, this is what puts food on my table,
Yeah.
and roof over my head.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. What's been the hardest lesson you've learned as a food entrepreneur?
Hardest lesson, I would say, all competition isn't friendly competition. I've had some competitors already that, and it's just business in general. I get it, but not everybody's always going to play fair.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm more aware of that now, 5 years in, than I was when I started.
Yeah.
And I know how to pay attention to it and look for it.
Okay.
That doesn't mean like direct competitors. I've met and dealt with people in business that are great, and they're still great friends, and sometimes even like role models for
Yeah.
business. But man, for every one of those, I've met a few that are the complete opposite, for sure.
Gotcha.
And that's been a hard lesson to learn. And then other than that, just kind of going back to the creative side, sometimes I would get carried away with just like the cool side of the business and then forget about the important stuff behind the scenes,
Yeah.
And that's another thing that my partner Jackie helps me out a lot with, because I'll be the first to say, ADD as hell. You give me some paperwork and stuff, like just for example, just sending you that bio,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That took me forever to put that together and get it to you, and I apologize.
No, that's cool,
But
man.
that's how my brain works.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that too.
Okay. If someone wanted to start a meal prep or food business today, what advice would you give them?
I would say for any business at all, the most important thing is having a good, solid plan.
Okay.
And then right after that, just do it, But like some type of plan, you don't have to have like, I'm not going to get on here and say you have to have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, anything like that.
Yeah.
I think some people get so caught up in the planning part that they sometimes never get started. Because if I could tell you, I probably have had hundreds of business ideas before I ever decided to do this, but I never actually did put together any kind of plan, and then I never actually executed anything.
Gotcha.
So as soon as I knew what I was going to do and I had a plan, started buying equipment, started putting together, marketing materials, a logo and a brand,
Yeah.
things like that. And once you start investing your time and your money into that, you're already in it. It's almost like you have no choice. Like, you're going to give up now.
Right.
And that's the simplest advice. And then other than that is just do business as a good person. Have your business be just like you are,
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's going to sound kind of, forward, but if you're a POS person, you're probably going to have a POS business.
Yeah.
It's going to reflect through what you do, and it's always going to come back around.
For sure.
The rule
Yeah.
of karma.
Yeah. The truth always comes out.
Yep.
All right. So, do you see Il Chino Meals expanding beyond Albuquerque in the future?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's definitely a part of my vision. I'm not big on like putting everything out there, but this second location was just stage 2. And there's many more stages like a video game. But that's one of the ultimate things, yeah.
Okay.
If I could get it that big, I can. I've already had requests from people, military that's traveled and like, man, you should come out here to Texas. You should come to Arizona and all that. But I also believe in divine timing, and
Yeah.
taking your time. I think a lot of times going back to the entrepreneurial planning and stuff like that is don't rush and don't ever feel like you're behind,
Right.
because you're always going to be behind and you're always going to feel like you're rushing anyways. But I think some people get so caught up in growing so fast and things like that, then it's just like, boom. Because I wanted a second location 2 years in,
Gotcha.
there's lots of things that I wanted, but sometimes stuff just doesn't work out. And I think there's a reason for that, because if you grow too fast, it's almost like I've learned a lot about bodybuilding in the last few years and powerlifting. If you grow too fast, your tendons and things like that, they don't grow the same way. So you can get really big and really strong, and then something can snap. And I kind of believe in the same thing in that. Yep.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
All right, man. We've reached the last section here. So this is just fun questions out here for you. So,
cool.
What's your personal favorite meal on your menu right now?
Let's see. Probably one of the newer ones. There's 2 chicken ones that I recently came out with. I like kind of both of them equally. Like I did a chicken al pastor bowl. So I don't do any kind of pork. I do love pork. Pork's good, but obviously it's not really a healthy protein.
Yeah.
But I do a really good marinated al pastor marinade. Put some pineapples on there, some rice.
Oh man,
it's a really good like fusion dish of mine. And then at the same time, I came out with another kind of Mexican inspired one called a chicken elote bowl.
Okay.
Where we do like the same cheese, everything, and then I do a really good chipotle mayo on top of it.
Damn.
I think the combination of those flavors, man, they're fire. Bro. They're really good.
It sounds
so
good,
I'd say
man.
a tie between those 2 right now.
Okay.
Because the thing with me is it benefits everybody else. I get tired of my food, like because I see it, I smell it, I marinate it, I do all these things. I don't cook it as much as I used to, but I'm constantly exposed to it. So because of that, I'm always trying to come up with new stuff that I want to eat and that I think people will like.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. If you could cook a meal for anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Honestly, this one kind of like it's heartfelt, but my grandpa, man.
Okay.
He's obviously gone. He's been gone for a while, but we used to always like go places to eat and things like that, and he would let me. I would cook for him sometimes when he got older and take him food. But I think both he would be super proud, and then he would love the stuff that I make.
Oh, I'm sure.
Until I told him it was healthy or something like that. Then he probably wouldn't want it. So I probably would never tell him like it's anything like that. I would probably just tell him, yeah, it's prepackaged food. He'd probably be eating it today, right now.
Yeah.
So I'd say him.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's heartfelt for sure. All right, man. We've reached our last question. So, outside of the kitchen, what do you do to recharge and stay inspired?
I kind of fell off recently, but I'd say the gym, just working out.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't do like a lot of the combat stuff, but I still like to hit mitts when I can.
Hell yeah.
Nothing against jiu-jitsu guys. I just never got too into the ground game.
Yeah.
I kind of sucked at it, honestly. It's like a different framework from striking. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was decent, wrestling and takedowns and things like that, but like you jiu-jitsu guys, man, like all the chaining of the submissions and the defenses, I love it. I love to watch it.
Yeah.
But I'm a striker at heart, so I'd say like hitting some mitts, hitting the gym, and then recently my buddy got me into Freddie again, meditating.
Oh, okay.
Just different. I've been trying different forms of meditation to see kind of like which one's mine, but just the simplest ones, man. Just like finding silence and turning everything off.
Nice.
And basically that's what I do when I go to the gym too. I haven't been doing it as much, but I got into powerlifting for a little while, and found out I was actually got some like really good old man strength.
Yeah.
But like when you're doing that stuff, the focus and everything, you can't be thinking about stuff, because as an entrepreneur or a business owner, man, there's tons of stuff on my mind all the time.
Yeah.
There's times I can't even sleep, bro, because there's so many things that I know I need to do, that I have going on, and then I just increase that by having the second location.
Yeah.
So now I'm like figuring it out of balance between number 1 and number 2, and I'm like, man, like if I expand more, this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But whenever I find those moments to recharge and stuff like that, that's exactly what it does. It's kind of like it's just shutting everything off for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important, man. It's necessary to keep your sanity too. So
definitely,
meditating is a good form, man. I
Yep.
like that. Cool, man. So we reached our last question. So now I'm just going to open it up to you on throwing some plugs out, shout outs, or if anything we didn't talk about. Right now's the opportunity to throw whatever you need.
Yeah. So obviously, first off, I'll plug the new location. One of the main reasons we got that location, it actually was one of my original competitors, Rocket Kitchen. And he's actually was the OG of meal prep in Albuquerque. He was the first one to actually open a real spot. But his location is just prime. It's basically the gateway to the west side in Rio Rancho, which is one of the audiences I feel like we never really captured fully, and it's a huge audience. So like now with that being off of Paseo and San Pedro, which is actually Paseo and I-25, it's perfect. Like people are already going over there like, man, we love this. Because another reason is like not everybody loves to go downtown. And I don't blame them. You know, whether you're this side or that side, and then on top of it, I'm right next to Metro Court.
Yeah.
And I liked it at first because it was centralized, but this new location, it just opens it up to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's a great area. It's a great neighborhood. And like I said, being right off Paseo, if you can't drive now from the west side of Rio Rancho, then you're just being a hater to me.
Yeah.
So I'd say like the second location's been kind of like a blessing, even though it's been really stressful, and like even remembering like the podcast today and stuff like that, it was one of those oh shit moments. Oh shit, that's right, podcast today. But yeah, that as far as shouting out, man, all the local gyms and stuff like that have been key. They've been key in like our success and growth. One thing that I didn't touch on in the other questions is I kind of like jumped from the home to the store, but in between we had this really cool phase where we directly partnered with a lot of gyms, and they let me put fridges in their gyms.
Gotcha.
And it first started out with just a pickup fridge, like people could pre-order and pick up. And then when I actually got a full certified commissary kitchen, we started doing grab and go meals, where people could go and buy like single meals and stuff like that. But some of the local gyms that I worked with, I'd say like United Fit, Iron Soul, all those gyms, they were key components in my growth, because without those, it wouldn't have given everybody the exposure to my food and had them try it.
That's awesome.
Unless it was in those gyms.
That's awesome.
Another great one on the west side is Body Elite Fitness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to go there.
Yeah. Designer Bodies Gym, which is kind of like right on the way to Rio Rancho. That was a good one. I know I'm going to forget some, and I'm sorry, guys, but everybody, just all the local gyms, even if I didn't have a fridge in there, that was a key part of our success and our growth, for sure.
That's pretty badass.
Yep. And then other than that, I felt like I had a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
All the fighters that I worked with over the years, one of the first ones, and I know not everybody's a fan of him. I'll always be a fan of him because, once again, same thing with the gyms. Diego Sanchez was my first ever sponsored fighter.
Oh, shit.
Believe it or not.
Fun fact of the day, people.
And it was when we were still in the house.
Sweet.
Yeah, so, and he loved the food, and unfortunately, it was like right towards the end of his UFC career, but he used us for his like last couple of fights, and he got us so much exposure. So Diego Sanchez, for sure. I ran into him the other day, actually. So
yeah.
Pray for him. He's kind of going through it. We all go through it. I completely understand.
Yeah.
But that dude, man, if he wouldn't have done what he did, I think we wouldn't have grown as fast and had as much success as we had to this point. Okay. So Diego Sanchez, for sure. All the other local fighters that I work with, I've had opportunities to work with bigger fighters, like stuff like that. But just like the gyms, I would rather help out the local guys, because one thing that I learned when I was training, fighters don't make a lot of money, man. Okay. Especially like MMA fighters. Boxers have a better chance because boxing's been around so long.
Yeah.
But to help out those guys that are like still having to work a 9 to 5, train full time, maybe even have another night job just to make it by, because when you start out fighting, your expenses usually are more than what you actually make prize fighting.
Right.
And I had no idea about that when I first started training. Like, I used to think these guys like
we're banking
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I found that out, well, for one thing, I didn't want to be a fighter anymore. I was using it more for fitness. And then on top of that, now that I get an opportunity to help these guys out, same thing with bodybuilders. Bodybuilders have a lot of expenses too, traveling, getting the cards and things like that. So anytime I can help out those guys, man, that's always been a big deal, and I always appreciate everybody that's worked with me.
That's nice of you, man.
Yep.
Okay. And last but not least, go ahead and let the audience know where they can follow you on social media, your website, things like that.
So website right now, ilchinomills.com. You can also pre-order on there. We have pre-ordering. Everything's kind of gone away from the pre-ordering. More people like to go to the store now. Yeah. But we do have that through Square. You can see everything. You can, even on the pre-orders, you can customize your meals if you want more protein or you want to cut your carbs. You can do things like that. Social is all going to be at Il Chino Meals. We're on Instagram and Facebook. That's it. When it comes to social media, I'd like to keep it simple. I don't do TikTok. I don't do Snapchat. Don't ask me. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook at Il Chino Meals. And then the two locations. So our main location downtown, our first location is located off of 6th and Lomas, right on the corner. It's 523 Lomas Northwest. And then our new location is right off of San Pedro, coming off of Paseo del Norte, kind of by the Target and the Lowe's and all that. There's a strip mall right there, and we're located right in there. That's 7900 San Pedro Northeast, Suite A13.
All right.
Got that memorized finally.
Yeah. Sweet, man. All right. Well, you guys heard it from the man himself, Ricky Silva. Thank you for coming along today, man. I appreciate it. I'm super grateful. I'm honored. And I hope you guys enjoyed the facts that he gave you. And go check out El Chino Meals, man. It's good stuff there. Good meals, nutritional. And until next time, man, we'll see you guys on the next episode of Small Talk on the Mats. We'll peace out.
Later.